For some reason it doesn't have the screencast on. Let me see if I can get it figured out here. It's supposed to do the screencast. It isn't doing the screencast. This is kind of a pain. Give me just a minute. I think we're waiting for people to come on anyway. I don't know how it won't let me edit it. Let me see, plus, no, that's polls. No, let me see. Okay, so I guess it isn't going to let me do it this way, which is a pain. Hang on just a second while I get the Bible up on my laptop. And I will start reading. Bible Gateway. I don't know why it didn't do the screencast. But that's okay. I can read it from here as soon as it loads. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Get the right translation. Oh, this is kind of a pain. I guess I should have just done it from my laptop if it wasn't going to do the casting to screen. Okay, so we are starting back up in Proverbs 30 today. And, okay. Sorry that the screencast isn't working. I'm not sure why. But I do have the comments up on my laptop so I can see if anybody is talking. Okay, so Proverbs 30. The words of Agur, the son of Jacob, the oracle. The man declares to Ithiel and Ukal, surely I am more stupid than any man, and I do not have the understanding of a man. Neither have I learned wisdom, nor do I have the knowledge of the Holy One, who has ascended into heaven and descended, who has gathered the wind in his fists, who has wrapped the waters in his garment, who has established all the ends of the earth. What is his name or his son's name? Surely you know. Hello to Heaven Edits and Elizabeth. Okay, so hopefully I can set my phone down and you'll still be able to hear me well. Let me know if you can't. Every word of God is tested. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, or he will reprove you, and you will be proved a liar. 2 things I asked of you. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep deception and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is my portion, that I not be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or that I not be in want and steal and profane the name of my God. Do not slander a slave to his master, or he will curse you and will be found guilty. There is a kind of man who curses his father and does not bless his mother. There is a kind who is pure in his own eyes, yet is not washed from his filthiness. There is a kind, oh, how lofty are his eyes, and his eyelids are raised in arrogance. There is a kind of man whose teeth are like swords, and his jaw teeth like knives, to devour the afflicted from the earth and the needy from among men. The leech has 2 daughters. Give, give. There are 3 things that will not be satisfied, 4 that will not say enough. Sheol and the barren womb, earth that is never satisfied with water, and fire that never says enough. The eye that mocks a father and scorns a mother, the ravens of the valley will pick it out, and the young eagles will eat it. There are 3 things which are too wonderful for me, 4 which I do not understand. The way of an eagle is the sky, the way of a serpent on a rock, the way of a ship in the middle of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wrong. Under 3 things the earth quakes, and under 4 it cannot bear up. Under a slave when he becomes king, and a fool when he is satisfied with food. Under an unloved woman when she gets a husband, and a maidservant when she supplants her mistress. Sorry. 4 things are small on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are not a strong people, but they prepare their food in the summer. The Shephanim are not mighty people, yet they make their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet all of them go out in ranks. The lizard you may grasp with the hands, yet it is in kings' palaces. Excuse me. There are 3 things which are stately in their march, even 4 which are stately when they walk. The lion which is mighty among beasts, and does not retreat before any, the strutting rooster, the male goat also, and a king when his army is with him. If you have been foolish in exalting yourself, or if you have plotted evil, put your hand on your mouth. For the churning of milk produces butter, and pressing the nose brings forth blood. So the churning of anger produces strife. And that was Proverbs chapter 30. How are you guys doing today? I'll be carrying on to chapter 31, which I know most people are familiar with and a lot of people like. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay still? Let me know in the comments, please. The words of King Lemuel, the oracle which his mother taught him. What, O my son, and what, O son of my womb, and what, O son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, or your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to desire strong drink, for they will drink and forget what is decreed, and pervert the rights of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to him whose life is bitter. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his trouble no more. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all the unfortunate. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the afflicted and needy. Let me see if this will let me translate what you said, Braxton. Hang on just a sec. Let's see. More actions. Translate to English. Hi. Hello. Are you able to hear me well? An excellent wife who can find, for her worth is far above jewels. Hi, Peyton. How are you today? The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She looks for wool and flax and works with her hands in delight. She is like merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She rises also while it is still night and gives food to her household and portions to her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. From her earnings she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She senses that her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hands grasp the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor, and she stretches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. I'm glad you're doing good. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to lift you up. Let's see, do you think I'm pretty? I got called ugly by my sister. Well, that's not very nice. Oh, I'm sure your sister loves you and doesn't actually think you're ugly. Siblings can be really mean. I'm sorry. But no, I don't think you're ugly. I can only see your little picture, but you look... Oh, you have little edits on it or something. That's cute. No, I do not think you're ugly. She makes coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies belts to the tradesmen. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her, her husband also, and he praises her, saying, Many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the product of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. And that was chapter 31 of Proverbs, which is the end of Proverbs. Let me see. Can you guess what age I am? I am older than 9. Older than 9. Let me see. Well, it doesn't let me look, but let's go with 11. I'll guess 11. Okay. So no, not 11. Are you just 10? I hope you're being careful on YouTube and the internet in general. It's a scary place out there. Okay. So should we carry on to Ecclesiastes? I suppose I might as well. Okay. The futility of all endeavor. Ecclesiastes 1. Okay. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king of Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. What advantage does man have in all his work which he does under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. Also the sun rises and the sun sets, and hastening to its place it rises there again. Blowing toward the south and turning toward the north, the wind continues swirling along, and on its circular courses the wind returns. All the rivers flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place where the rivers flow, there they flow again. All things are wearisome, man is not able to tell it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor is the ear filled with hearing. That which has been is that which will be, and that which has been done is that which will be done. So there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one might say, See this, it is new? Already it has existed for ages, which were before us. There is no remembrance of earlier things, and also of the later things which will occur. There will be for them no remembrance. Among those who will come later still. For those just coming in, I've carried on to Ecclesiastes. How's everybody doing today? God bless you. Peyton, I think you're just yammering now. I should hope you don't smoke weed and vape and, smoke bongs and everything you're saying, because at 10 years old that would be really terrible, and you should seek help. I, the preacher, have been king over Israel and Jerusalem, and I set my mind to seek and explore by wisdom concerning all that has been done under heaven. It is a grievous task which God has given to the sons of men to be afflicted with. I have seen all the works which have been done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and striving after wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened, and what is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, Behold, I have magnified and increased wisdom more than all who were over Jerusalem before me, and my mind has observed a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. And I set my mind to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I realized that this also is striving after wind, because in much wisdom there is much grief, and increasing knowledge results in increasing pain. And that was Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, carrying on to Ecclesiastes 2. I said to myself, Come now, I will test you with pleasure, so enjoy yourself. And behold, it too was futility. I said of laughter, It is madness, and of pleasure, what does it accomplish? I explored with my mind how to stimulate my body with wine while my mind was guiding me wisely, and how to take hold of folly until I could see what good there is for the sons of men to do under heaven the few years of their lives. I enlarged my works. I built houses for myself. I planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and parks for myself, and I planted in them all kinds of fruit trees. I made ponds of water for myself from which to irrigate a forest of growing trees. I bought male and female slaves, and I had homeborn slaves. Also, I possessed flocks and herds larger than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. Also, I collected for myself silver and gold and the treasure of kings and provinces. I provided for myself male and female singers and the pleasures of men, many concubines. Excuse me. Then I became great and increased more than all who preceded me in Jerusalem. My wisdom also stood by me. All that my eyes desired, I did not refuse them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure, for my heart was pleased because of all my labor, and this was my reward for all my labor. Thus I considered all my activities which my hands had done, and the labor which I had exerted. And behold, all was vanity and striving after wind, and there was no profit under the sun. Let me see. It's little toilet. Let's see, Ecclesiastes 2:11. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and the labor which I toiled, and indeed all was vanity and grasping for the wind. There was no profit under the sun. Yes. Welcome to you, little toilet. So I turned to consider wisdom, madness, and folly. For what will the man do who will come after the king, except what has already been done? And I saw that wisdom excels folly as light excels darkness. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And yet I know that one fate befalls them both. You'll probably hear my kids screaming and carrying on in the background. They're just playing. Promise they're not being killed. Then I said to myself, as is the fate of the fool, it will also befall me. Why then have I been extremely wise? So I said to myself, this too is vanity, for there is no lasting remembrance of the wise man as with the fool, inasmuch as in the coming days all will be forgotten, and how the wise man and the fool alike die. So I hated life, for the work which had been done under the sun was grievous to me, because everything is futility and striving after wind. Yeah, you're using New King James Version. I read that often. I'm actually King James girl at heart, but I find that it's not as easy to read and for others to understand. New King James is a little bit better, but I find that NASB kind of works for most people to understand and for ease of reading. Okay. Thus I hated all the fruit of my labor, for which I had labored under the sun, for I must leave it to the man who will come after me. And who knows whether he will be a wise man or a fool? Yet he will have control over all the fruit of my labor, for which I have labored by acting wisely under the sun. This too is vanity. See, I love KJV, but I also am too dumb to study it. Oh, I don't think you're dumb, And what's cool about this website that I use, Bible Gateway, it has a little button you can click to do a side-by-side of up to 5 chapters at the same time. And if you're having trouble understanding one, then reading it in several other versions can help. You can also look at the interlinear and get the Hebrew and Greek. Therefore I completely despaired of all the fruit of my labor for which I had labored under the sun. When there is a man who has labored with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, then he gives his legacy to one who has not labored with them. This too is vanity and a great evil. For what does a man get in all his labor and in his striving with which he labors under the sun? Because all his days his task is painful and grievous, even at night his mind does not rest. This too is vanity. There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink and tell himself that his labor is good. This also I have seen, that it is from the hand of God. For who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him? For to a person who is good in his sight he has given wisdom and knowledge and joy. while to the sinner he has given the task of gathering and collecting, so that he may give to one who is good in God's sight. This too is vanity and striving after wind. I find this chapter so, I don't know, a little depressing and woe is me, you know? I wouldn't recommend reading Ecclesiastes if you're feeling like everything is pointless, you know? There is an Ecclesiastes chapter 3 now. There is an appointed time for everything, and this is the chapter everybody knows. And there is a time for every event under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to shun embracing, a time to search and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Does anybody else hear that oldies song playing in their heads? To every day, turn, 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 you know? Probably showing my age. It's well before me. I'm not that old, but my parents listened to it and I enjoy it. Okay, let me read the comments. It's your favorite? Yeah, it's short too. I believe I've actually read this live at least once before. What profit is there to the worker from that in which he toils? I have seen the task which God has given the sons of men with which to occupy themselves. Sorry, I got distracted because I saw Nellie come in. Hey girl, how are you? I'm okay. Glad to see you. He has made everything appropriate in its time. He has also set eternity in their heart, yet so that man will not find out the work which God has done from the beginning even to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to do good in one's lifetime. Moreover, that every man who eats and drinks sees good in all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will remain forever. There is nothing to add to it, and there is nothing to take from it, for God has so worked that men should fear him. That which is has been already, and that which will be already been. For God seeks what has passed by. Oh my goodness, I need to get a drink real quick. Sorry, you'll hear my bed squeaking. I need a new one. Take a drink real quick and then I will get back to this. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. Nellie said, I'm good. Thank you for asking. I just came back from a birthday and now I have to study, so I'm just going to stick around and listen to your reading. Well, that's wonderful. What are you studying? What are you studying in school right now, honey? Furthermore, I have seen under the sun that in the place of justice there is wickedness, and in the place of righteousness there is wickedness. I said to myself, God will judge both the righteous man and the wicked man. For a time for every matter and for every deed is there. I said to myself concerning the sons of men, God has surely tested them in order for them to see that they are but beasts. For the fate of the sons of men and the fate of beasts is the same. You guys are going to hear Kenny and Stephen and Shiloh. Oh no, you failed your exam? Well, it's hard to learn a new language. Kenny does Spanish mostly for fun. He would probably love to talk about that with you. Okay. For the fate of the sons of men and the fate of beasts is the same. Hang on just a sec. Okay. As one dies, so dies the other, indeed. They all have the same breath, and there is no advantage for man over beast, for all is vanity. All go to the same place. All came from the dust, and all return to the dust. Who knows that the breath of man ascends upward, and the breath of the beast descends downward to the earth? I have seen that nothing is better than that man should be happy in his activities, for that is his lot. For who will bring him to see what will occur after him? Welcome to those just coming in. God bless each of you. Is everybody excited for or getting ready for Christmas? I don't know if you saw I was live. It was very impromptu. Right before this, we have a driving parade where a bunch of cars are decorated with lights and stuff for Christmas, and they drive down all the streets. And I had forgotten that it was today. So I went live to show that parade happening, and I only caught about half of it, but it's always fun, puts us in the spirit of the season and Jesus and love and giving. It's exciting, but I had to laugh because somebody went by yelling. There was kids hanging out of one of the cars that was decorated, and they were saying 6-7. I can't escape that. I actually have done some research into that, and I don't allow my kids to see it, or say it, but okay. Then I looked again at all the acts of oppression which were being done under the sun. Sorry, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 4. And behold, I saw the tears of the oppressed, and that they had no one to comfort them. And on the side of their oppressors was power, but they had no one to comfort them. So I congratulated the dead who are already dead more than the living who are still living. But better off than both of them is the one who has never existed, my goodness, who has never seen the evil activity that is done under the sun. I don't feel that way. You know, I definitely agree that, you're better dead as a believer because you get to be with Jesus, right? But to never have existed, I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter because he never existed, but I would rather exist and know Jesus and get to be with him. See, they're also the understanding that Solomon was reflecting on Genesis when giving this sermon. Really? I'll have to look into that. I just find it, I find it kind of funny, but it's definitely full of wisdom. He's referring to it's easier to not exist than to be. Right. Yes, of course. Yes, definitely true. Yeah, because if you'd never existed, there would be nothing, or, there's nothing to miss or any of that. So it's not like you would miss knowing Jesus if you never existed, but I'm sure glad I exist and know Jesus. I'm just being funny, really. Let's see. But how blessed we are to exist and to be given the gift. Amen. Yeah, that's a more eloquent way of my point that I was trying to make. I have seen that every labor and every skill which is done is the result of rivalry between a man and his neighbor. This too is vanity and striving after wind. The fool folds his hands and consumes his own flesh. One handful of rest is better than 2 fistfuls of labor and striving after wind. Then I looked again at vanity under the sun. There was a certain man without a dependent, having neither a son nor a brother, yet there was no end to all his labor. Indeed, his eyes were not satisfied with riches, and he never asked, and for whom am I laboring and depriving myself of pleasure? This too is vanity, and it is a grievous task. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Furthermore, if 2 lie down together, they keep warm, but how can one be warm alone? And if one can overpower him who is alone, 2 can resist him. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. A poor yet wise lad is better than an old and foolish king who no longer knows how to receive instruction. Amen to that. For he has come out of prison to become king, even though he was born poor in his kingdom. I have seen all the living under the sun throng to the side of the second lad who replaces him. There is no end to all the people, to all who were before them, and even the ones who will come later will not be happy with him, for this too is vanity and striving after wind. And that was chapter 4 of Ecclesiastes. Let me check the comments. Oh, amen from you. From my Nellie. Okay. Guard your steps as you go to the house of God, and draw near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know they are doing evil. Do not be hasty in word or impulsive in thought to bring up a matter in the presence of God. For God is in heaven and you are on earth, therefore let your words be few. For the dream comes through much effort, and the voice of a fool through many words. When you make a vow to God, do not be late in paying it, for he takes no delight in fools. Pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than you should vow and not pay. Do not let your speech cause you to sin, and do not say in the presence of the messenger of God that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry on account of your voice and destroy the work of your hands? For in many dreams and in many words there is emptiness. Rather, fear God. If you see oppression of the poor and denial of justice and righteousness in the province, do not be shocked at the sight, for one official watches over another official, and there are higher officials over them. After all, a king who cultivates the field is an advantage to the land. He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves abundance with its income. This too is vanity. When good things increase, those who consume them increase. So what is the advantage to their owners except to look on? The sleep of the working man is pleasant, whether he eats little or much, but the full stomach of the rich man does not allow him to sleep. There is a grievous evil which I have seen under the sun, riches being hoarded by their owner to his hurt. When those riches were lost through a bad investment, and he had fathered a son, then there was nothing to support him. As he had come naked from his mother's womb, so will he return as he came. He will take nothing from the fruit of his labor that he can carry in his hand. This also is a grievous evil. Exactly as a man is born, thus will he die. So what is the advantage to him who toils for the wind? Throughout his life he also eats in darkness with great vexation, sickness, and anger. Here is what I have seen to be good and fitting: to eat, to drink, and enjoy oneself in all one's labor, in which he toils under the sun during the few years of the few years of his life which God has given him, for this is his reward. Furthermore, as for every man to whom God has given riches and wealth, he has also empowered him to eat from them and to receive his reward and rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God. For he will not often consider the years of his life, because God keeps him occupied with the gladness of his heart. And that was Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Okay. The futility of life. I thought we had been covering that the whole time. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and it is prevalent among men, a man to whom God has given riches and wealth and honor, so that his soul lacks nothing of all that he desires. Yet God has not empowered him to eat from them, for a foreigner enjoys them. You're depressed now? I hope you're joking, but that was the point I was making earlier at the beginning of starting this. It kind of tickles me, honestly. This is vanity and severe affliction. If a man fathers 100 children and lives many years, however many they be, but his soul is not satisfied with good things, and he does not even have a proper burial, then I say, better the miscarriage than he, for it comes in futility and goes into obscurity, and its name is covered in obscurity. It never sees the sun, and it never knows anything. It is better off than he. Even if the other man lives 1,000 years twice and does not enjoy good things, do not all go to one place. All a man's labor is for his mouth, and yet the appetite is not satisfied. For what advantage does the wise man have over the fool? What advantage does the poor man have knowing how to walk before the living? What the eyes see is better than what the soul desires. This too is futility and a striving after wind. Whatever exists, my cursor is in the way, it's driving me nuts. There we go. Whatever exists has already been named, and it is known what man is, for he cannot dispute with him who is stronger than he is. For there are many words which increase futility. What then is the advantage to a man? For who knows what is good for a man during his lifetime, during the few years of his futile life? He will spend them like a shadow. For who can tell a man what will be after him under the sun? And carrying on to Ecclesiastes 7. I feel like we have talked before, Toilet. I feel like you've been in my live streams before. Or is this your first time? Okay. 6, 7 through 12. Lack of soul satisfaction comes from working only for what is consumed, seeing little difference in the end between the wise and foolish, not knowing the future, realizing that God alone controls everything, and true understanding of the present and future is limited. Let's see. Oh, it is our first time. I see. I was thinking I would probably remember that pretty clearly. You know, it is a little toilet after all. I'm going to get a drink really quick. Well, I am glad you are here. A good name is better than a good ointment, and the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, because that is the end of every man, and the living takes it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for when a face is sad, a heart may be happy. The mind of the wise is in the house of mourning, while the mind of fools is in the house of pleasure. It is better to listen to the rebuke of a wise man than for one to listen to the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorn bushes under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool, and this too is futility. Welcome to those just coming in. We are reading Ecclesiastes. So is the laughter of the fool, and this too is futility. For oppression makes a wise man mad, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Patience of spirit is better than haughtiness of spirit. Do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. Do not say, why is it that the former days were better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask about this. Wisdom along with an inheritance is good, and an advantage to those who see the sun. For wisdom is protection just as money is protection, but the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the lives of its possessors. Consider the work of God, for who is able to straighten what he has bent? In the days of prosperity be happy, but in the day of adversity consider. God has made the one as well as the other, so the man will not discover anything that will be after him. I have seen everything during my lifetime of futility. There is a righteous man who perishes in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man who prolongs his life in his wickedness. Do not be excessively righteous, and do not be overly wise. Why should you ruin yourself? Do not be excessively wicked, and do not be a fool. Why should you die before your time? It is good that you grasp one thing and also not let go of the other, for the one who fears God comes forth with both of them. Wisdom strengthens a wise man more than 10 rulers who are in a city. Indeed, there is not a righteous man on earth who will continually... I'm going to start that sentence over. Indeed, there is not a righteous man on earth who continually does good and who never sins. Also, do not take seriously all words which are spoken, so that you will not hear your servant cursing you. So true. For you also have realized that you likewise have many times cursed others. Tisk, tisk. I tested all this with wisdom, and I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. What has been is remote and exceedingly mysterious. Who can discover it? I directed my mind to know, to investigate, and to seek wisdom and an explanation, and to know the evil of folly and the foolishness of madness. And I discovered more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, whose hands are chains. One who is pleasing to God will escape from her, but the sinner will be captured by her. And he knew that well, didn't he, with all those wives? Can you imagine? You're a holy bowler. What does that mean? You go bowling with gospel music going, or? Behold, I have discovered this, says the preacher, adding one thing to another to find an explanation, which I am still seeking, but have not found. I have found one man among 1,000, but I have not found a woman among all these. Wait a second now. Okay. Oh, holy bowler, like toilet bowl. Oh, that's hysterical. I like you. Dad jokes are my favorites. Like, I'm basically a dad. Except for I do all the mom things. Okay. I have found one man among 1,000, but I have not found a woman among all these. I'm going to read that part again. Behold, I have discovered this, says a preacher, adding one thing to another to find an explanation, which I am still seeking, but I have not found. I have found one man among 1,000, but I have not found a woman among all these. Behold, I have found only this, what God made men upright, that God made men upright, but they have sought out many devices. Goodness, my mouth's getting ahead of me. Where are you from, toilet? And also, do you have like a name that I could call you by? Because saying toilet in my stream so many times, I don't know. I'm guessing like Google listening to me and YouTube listening to me right now, they're probably going to start putting toilets in my feed on Facebook and stuff. You're from the bathroom? Which bathroom? Or just bathroom in general? Okay. Who is like the wise man, and who knows the interpretation of a matter? A man's wisdom illumes him and causes his stern face to beam. I say, keep the command of the king because of the oath before God. Do not be in a hurry to leave him. Do not join in an evil matter, for he will do whatever he pleases. Since the word of the king is authoritative, who will say to him, what are you doing? Probably me. Keep having to clear my throat. So if you hear it go silent, that's because I'm muting it so I don't just cough in your guys' ears. He who keeps the royal command experiences no trouble, for a wise heart knows the proper time and procedure. For there is a proper time and procedure for every delight, though a man's trouble is heavy upon him. If no one knows what will happen, who can tell him when it will happen? No man has authority to restrain the wind with the wind, or authority over the day of death, and there is no discharge in the time of war, and evil will not deliver those who practice it. Nellie, have you been checking the my cat channel? There's some really cute stuff on there. All this I have seen and applied my mind to every deed that has been done under the sun, wherein a man has exercised authority over another man to his hurt. So then I have seen the wicked buried, those who used to go in and out from the holy place, and they are soon forgotten in the city where they did thus. This too is futility, because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed quickly. Therefore the hearts of the sons of men among them are given fully to do evil. Although a sinner does evil 100 times and may lengthen his life, Still, I know that it will be well for those who fear God, who fear him openly. But it will not be well for the evil man, and he will not lengthen his days like a shadow, because he does not fear God. There is futility which is done on the earth, that is, there are righteous men to whom it happens according to the deeds of the wicked. On the other hand, there are evil men to whom it happens according to the deeds of the righteous. I say that this too is futility. So I commended pleasure, for there is nothing good for a man under the sun except to eat and to drink and to be merry. And this will stand by him in his toils throughout the days of his life, which God has given him under the sun. When I gave my heart to know wisdom and to see the task which has been done on the earth, even though one should never sleep day or night, and I saw every work of God, I concluded that man cannot discover the work which has been done under the sun. Even though man should seek laboriously, he will not discover, and though the wise man should say, I know, he cannot discover. Hello, Vincent. How are you today? You're probably hearing my kids scream and run. It probably sounds like a stampede of laughing hyenas in the background. Welcome to those coming in. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. You're always welcome to ask for prayer on my channel, any of my videos. I'm good. Pretty good. For I have taken all this to my heart and explain it that righteous men, wise men, and their deeds are in the hand of God. Man does not know whether it will be love or hatred, anything awaits him. It is the same for all. There is one fate for the righteous and for the wicked, for the good, for the clean, and for the unclean, for the man who offers a sacrifice, and for the one who does not sacrifice. As the good man is, so is the sinner. As the swearer is, so is the one who is afraid to swear. This is an evil in all that is done under the sun, that there is one fate for all men. Furthermore, the hearts of the sons of men are full of evil, and insanity is in their hearts throughout their lives. Afterwards they go to the dead. For whoever is joined with all the living, there is hope. Surely a live dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know they will die, but the dead do not know anything, nor have they any longer a reward, for their memory is forgotten. Indeed, their love, their hate, and their zeal have already perished, and they will no longer have a share in all that is done under the sun. Oh, you've been wanting to learn more about religions? Other religions? Make sure that you are grounded in your faith and have a mature, what am I trying to say? Mature in your faith, you know what I mean? Before kind of going into the lion's den. But it is good to know, what other religions believe and stuff, so that you can discuss and also, tell them why they're wrong. My favorite part of the Bible. Well, I like prophecy. I like studying Revelation, and right now I'm slowly working on a Bible study for Zechariah that I'm writing myself. I had to push it off to January because it's a little more involved than I had anticipated, and with the holidays and homeschooling and everything, I just don't have the time to get it out that fast. Yes, that's so true. Toilet. Very true. Go then, eat your bread in happiness, and drink your wine with a cheerful heart, for God has already approved your works. Let your clothes be white all the time, and let not oil be lacking on your head. Enjoy life with a woman who you love all the days of your life, all the days of your fleeting life, which he has given you under the sun. For this is your reward in life, and in your toil in which you have labored under the sun. You think Vincent is Buddhist? Even though I am an atheist, I do listen to many of Jesus' words, and I try to be as humble and kind as he is. Oh, yeah, I wondered, I asked somebody else in a different live recently, if that was a spider web or what it was supposed to be, because it kind of looks like a wheel up a ship, or... Oh, I see. I think it looks different on different screens. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. That's why I say, you know how they say half arsed or whatever? I always tell my kids to do everything with your whole butt. Don't do anything half-butted. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for there is no activity or planning or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol where you are going. I again saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, and the battle is not to the warriors, and neither is bread to the wise, nor wealth to the discerning, nor favor to men of ability. For time and chance overtake them all. Moreover, man does not know his time, like fish caught in a treacherous net and birds trapped in a snare. So the sons of men are ensnared at an evil time when it suddenly falls on them. That reminds me last night when we were looking at Christmas trees, because we went and got it. Oh, we got this huge tree. It's almost 9 feet tall. Shiloh picked it out. And all 4 boys took turns chopping to get it down, and I had to get up on top of the car to help pull it over. Oh my goodness, getting home was crazy. It was scary. Suddenly, like, the wind was horrible. And we had to drive 45 minutes home, mostly on the freeway. Yeah. This single mom stuff, I swear. Let's see. I love how the Bible manages to give not even advice to have a relationship with Jesus and being a good Christian, but showing love in general and other life advice. Yes. I call it the instruction manual. And I love, Vincent, that you're seeking. I think somebody said, who was it, said that it takes more faith to be an atheist than to believe in God. And I just think if you're, knock and the door will be opened. I think Jesus will reveal himself to you, and I'm praying for that. Also this I came to see as wisdom under the sun, and it impressed me. There was a small city with few men in it, and a great king came to it, surrounded it, and constructed large siege works against it. But there was found in it a poor wise man, and he delivered the city by his wisdom. Yet no one remembered that poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength, but the wisdom of the poor man is despised, and his words are not heeded. The words of the wise, heard in quietness, are better than the shouting of a ruler among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. And that was Ecclesiastes chapter 9. I'm going to read these comments. I'm sorry, but I have to go now, but it was fun being here. Well, I'm so glad you stopped by, Vincent, and you will be in my prayers. I hope you will return. Have a good night. So Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Dead flies make a perfumer's oil stink, so a little foolishness is weightier than wisdom and honor. A wise man's heart directs him toward the right, but the foolish man's heart directs him toward the left. Oh, isn't that a fun little verse? A wise man's heart directs him toward the right, but the foolish man's heart directs him toward the left. I mean, it's in the Bible. Even when the fool walks along the road, his sense is lacking, and he demonstrates to everyone that he is a fool. If the ruler's temper rises against you, do not abandon your position, because composure allays great offenses. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, like an error which goes forth from the ruler. Folly is set in many exalted places, while rich men sit in humble places. I have seen slaves riding on horses and princes walking like slaves on the land. He who digs a pit may fall into it, and a serpent may bite him who breaks through a wall. Solomon calling us out. Shocking, right? Okay. He who quarries stones may be hurt by them, and he who splits logs may be endangered by them. If the axe is dull and he does not sharpen its edge, then he may exert more strength. Wisdom has the advantage of giving success. If the serpent bites before being charmed, there is no profit for the charmer. Words from the mouth of a wise man are gracious, while the lips of a fool consume him. The beginning of his talking is folly, and the end of it is wicked madness. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I am reading Ecclesiastes right now. Yet the fool multiplies words. No man knows what will happen, and who can tell him what will come after him? The toil of a fool so wearies him that he does not even know how to go to a city. Woe to you, O land, whose king is a lad and whose princes feast in the morning. Blessed are you, O land, whose king is of nobility and whose princes eat at the appropriate time, for strength and not for drunkenness. Through indolence, the rafters sag, and through slackness, the house leaks. Men prepare a meal for enjoyment, and wine makes life merry, and money is the answer to everything. Furthermore, in your bedchamber do not curse a king, and in your sleeping rooms do not curse a rich man. For a bird of the heavens will carry the sound, and the winged creature will make the matter known. That was Ecclesiastes 10. Did toilet take off? Cast your bread on the surface of the waters, for you will find it after many days. Divide your portion to 7 or even to 8, for you do not know what misfortune may occur on the earth. If the clouds are full, they pour out rain upon the earth, and whether a tree falls toward the south or toward the north, wherever the tree falls, there it lies. He who watches the wind will not sow, and he who looks at the clouds will not reap. Just as you do not know the path of the wind and how bones are formed in the womb of the pregnant woman, so you do not know the activity of God who makes all things. Ooh, what are you cooking? We're all invested. Sow your seeds in the morning, and do not be idle in the evening, for you do not know whether morning or evening sowing will succeed, or whether both of them alike will be good. The light is pleasant, and it is good for the eyes to see the sun. Just don't stare directly at it. Indeed, if a man should live many years, let him rejoice in them all, and let him remember the days of darkness, for they will be many. Everything that is to come will be futility. Rejoice, young man, during your childhood, and let your heart be pleasant during the days of young manhood, and follow the impulses of your heart and the desires of your eyes. Pardon me. Yet know that God will bring you to judgment for all these things. So remove grief and anger from your heart, and put away pain from your body, because childhood and the prime of life are fleeting. Okay, I think the next chapter is the last chapter of Ecclesiastes, yes. Okay. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, when you will say, I have no delight in them. Before the sun and the light, the moon and the stars are darkened, and clouds return after the rain. In the day that the watchmen of the house tremble, and mighty men stoop, the grinding ones stand idle because they are few, and those who look through windows grow dim, and the doors on the street are shut as the sound of the grinding mill is low, and one will arise at the sound of the bird, and all the daughters of song will sing softly. That was a really long run-on sentence. I mean, I guess it's not a run-on sentence because it does have, punctuation in it, but wow. Oh, spam and rice, huh? Are you from Hawaii, or, because I know that's really popular there. Yeah, actually, I had never had spam growing up. And then when I met my husband, we were at his house, and his dad made macaroni and cheese, which he hates. I don't know why. I don't know why he made it, but anyway, he did. And he made spam, fried spam, to go in it. And then he would make spam and eggs and oh, you're in Texas? I've heard a lot of people in Hawaii like to eat like their spam musubi, where it's like rice and spam, and I think it's wrapped in seaweed, if I'm right. Americans want to be Chinese food. Okay. Furthermore, men are afraid of a high place and of terrors on the road. The almond tree blossom, the grasshopper drags himself along, and the caperberry is ineffective. For man goes to his eternal home while mourners go about in the street. Remember him before the silver cord is broken and the golden bowl is crushed. The pitcher by the well is shattered, and the wheel at the cistern is crushed. Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. All is vanity. In addition to being a wise man, the preacher also taught the people knowledge. Hold on. Okay, let's set up. And he pondered, searched out, and arranged many proverbs. The preacher sought to find delightful words and to write words of truth correctly. The words of wise men are like goads, and masters of these collections are like well-driven nails. They are given by one shepherd. But beyond this, my son, be warned. The writing of many books is endless, and excessive devotion to books is wearying to the body. The conclusion, when all has been heard, is fear God and keep his commandments, because this applies to every person. For God will bring every act to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil. And that is the end of Ecclesiastes. Should I read Song of Solomon? I know that one makes a lot of people uncomfortable. What do you think, Nellie? Or if there's a different book you guys want me to read, I'm totally open to doing that. I have a little bit longer that I can spend. No? You don't want me to read? Oh, see, now I'm gonna. You don't want to hear about the bosoms and all that? Well, pick a chapter, any chapter of the book, or any book. Job. I have now read Job live a couple times, and to myself a few times, but yeah, it was a hard one to get through. Squirvy Solomon, huh? Romans. Let's see. I think I've read that one live too before, but sure, I can sure read Romans. First Samuel. What do you want me to read? Romans or Samuel or? Oh, I got Romans up. Okay. Toilet said Romans, and you agree with Romans, so we'll do that. Paul, a bondservant of Christ Jesus, called as an apostle, set apart for the gospel of God, which he promised beforehand through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures, concerning his Son, who was born of a descendant of David according to the flesh, who was declared the Son of God with power by the resurrection from the dead, according to the Spirit of holiness, Jesus Christ our Lord, through whom we have received grace and apostleship to bring about the obedience of faith among all the Gentiles for his name's sake, among whom, this is all one sentence, among whom you also are called, the called of Jesus Christ. To all who are beloved of God in Rome, called as saints, grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. That was all, we just got to the period. 7 verses for one sentence. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for you all, because your faith is being proclaimed throughout the whole world. For God, whom I serve in my spirit, in the preaching of the gospel of his Son, is my witness as to how unceasingly I make mention of you, always in my prayers, making request, if perhaps now, at last, by the will of God, I may succeed in coming to you. For I long to see you, so that I may impart some spiritual gift to you, that you may be established. That is, that I may be encouraged together with you while among you, each of us by the other's fruit, both yours and mine. I do not want you to be unaware, brethren, that often I have planned to come to you, and have been prevented so far, so that I may obtain some fruit among you also, even as among the rest of the Gentiles. I am under obligation both to Greeks and to barbarians, both to the wise and to the foolish. So for my part, I am eager to preach the gospel to you also who are in Rome. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is a power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For in the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, but the righteous man shall live by faith. Give me just a second. I have to go turn my heat down. Listen, if I give you no other advice outside of the Bible, let it be to never get mini splits for your house. At least not these ones, which I believe are Mr. Cool. They're not good quality. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth and unrighteousness. Hang on a second, I have someone at my door. Okay. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth and unrighteousness, because that which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so that they are without excuse. I love that one. Okay. For even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their speculations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools, and exchanged the glory of the incorruptible God for an image in the form of corruptible man, and of birds and four-footed animals and crawling creatures. Therefore God gave them over in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, so that their bodies would be dishonored among them. For they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason, God gave them over to degrading passions, for their women exchanged the natural function for that which is unnatural. And in the same way, also the men abandoned the natural function of the woman, and burned in their desire toward one another, men with men committing indecent acts, and receiving in their own persons the due penalty of their error. And just as they did not see fit to acknowledge God any longer, God gave them over to a depraved mind to do those things which are not proper, being filled with all unrighteousness, wickedness, greed, evil, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, arrogant, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, without understanding, untrustworthy, unloving, unmerciful. And although they know the ordinance of God, that those who practice such things are worthy of death, they not only do the same, but also give hearty approval to those who practice them. That, where he goes on about what they are, that reminds me of the movie we watched the other night. My mind was fuzzy. My memory was fuzzy. I knew I had watched as a kid National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And I could vaguely recall that there was a little bit of maybe bathroom humor in it or something, but I thought it would be okay to watch with my kids. And the part where he loses it and just goes off about his boss or whatever, that kind of reminds me of this part, only he did it in not a very nice way. Let's see what the comments say. Mic drop, for sure. Therefore you have no excuse, every one of you who passes judgment, for in that which you judge another you condemn yourself, for you who judge practice the same things. And we know that the judgment of God rightly falls upon those who practice such things. But do you suppose this, O man, when you pass judgment on those who practice such things and do the same yourself, that you will escape the judgment of God? Sorry about that. Or do you think lightly of the riches of his kindness and tolerance and patience, not knowing that the kindness of God leads you to repentance? But because of your stubbornness and unrepentant heart, you are storing up wrath for yourself in the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of God, who will render to each person according to his deeds. To those who by perseverance in doing good seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But to those who are selfishly ambitious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, wrath, and indignation, there will be tribulation and distress for every soul of man who does evil, of the Jew first and also the Greek. But glory and honor and peace to everyone who does good, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For there is no partiality with God. For all who have sinned without the law will also perish without the law, and all who have sinned under the law will be judged by the law. For it is not the hearers of the law who are just before God, but the doers of the law will be justified. For when Gentiles who do not have the law do instinctively the things of the law, these, not having the law, are a law to themselves. And in that they show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience bearing witness, and their thoughts alternately accusing or else defending them, on the day when, according to my gospel, God will judge the secrets of men through Christ Jesus. But if you bear the name Jew and rely upon the law and boast in God and know his will and approve the things that are essential, being instructed out of the law, and are confident that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, a corrector of the foolish, a teacher of the immature, having in the law the embodiment of knowledge and of the truth, you therefore who teach another, do you not teach yourself? You who preach that one shall not steal, do you steal? You who say that one should not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhors idols, do you rob temples? You who boast in the law through your breaking the law, do you dishonor God? For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you, just as it is written. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. We are reading Romans. For indeed circumcision is of value if you practice the law, but if you are a transgressor of the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. So if the uncircumcised man keeps the requirements of the law, will not his uncircumcision be regarded as circumcision? And he who is physically uncircumcised, if he keeps the law, will he not judge you who, though having the letter of the law and circumcision, are a transgressor of the law? For he is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that which is of the heart by the Spirit, not by the letter, and his praise is not from men, but from God. And that was Romans chapter 2. And I think I will read this one last chapter, and then I have to go because we will be decorating the Christmas tree and making cookies and stuff. Then what advantage has the Jew, or what is the benefit of circumcision? Great in every respect. First of all, that they were entrusted with the oracles of God. What then? If some did not believe, their unbelief will not nullify the faithfulness of God, will it? May it never be. Rather, let God be found true, though every man be found a liar, as it is written, that you may be justified in your words and prevail when you are judged. But if our unrighteousness demonstrates the righteousness of God, what shall we say? The God who inflicts wrath is not unrighteous, is he? I am speaking in human terms. May it never be. For otherwise, how will God judge the world? But if through my lie the truth of God abounded to his glory, why am I also still being judged as a sinner? And why not say, as we are slanderously reported and as some claim that we say, let us do evil that good may come. Their condemnation is just. What then? Are we better than they? Not at all. For we have already charged that both Jews and Greeks are all under sin, as it is written, there is none righteous, not even one. There is none who understands. There is none who seeks for God. All have turned aside. Together they have become useless. There is none who does good. There is not even one. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they keep deceiving. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their paths, and the path of peace they have not found. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be closed and all the world may become accountable to God. Because by the works of the law, no flesh will be justified in his sight, for through the law comes the knowledge of sin. Give me just a moment. But now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ for all those who believe, for there is no distinction. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, being justified as a gift by his grace through the redemption which is in Christ Jesus, whom God displayed publicly as a propitiation in his blood through faith. This was to demonstrate his righteousness, because in the forbearance of God he passed over the sins previously committed, for the demonstration, I say, of his righteousness at the present time, so that he would be just and the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. By what kind of law? Of works? No, but by a law of faith. For we maintain that a man is justified by faith apart from works of the law. Or is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles also? Yes, of Gentiles also, since indeed God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through faith is one. Do we then nullify the law through faith? May it never be. On the contrary, we establish the law. And that was Romans chapter 3. Okay, so God bless each of you for being here. I love you. I hope you will return. Please like and subscribe, and maybe check out my other content. I always go live on Tuesdays for Prophecy Night. And I go live throughout the week as I'm able to read the Bible. I will definitely enjoy, Nellie. Thank you, and God bless you too. And you can always get a hold of me on Discord or on my community here, and you can email me too. It's earstohear.biblereading@gmail.com. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. God bless. Bye-bye.